left-hand side was all tilled and everything. And where the houses, you go up there in the first house on the right, that was all, put into crops.
And the watermen that were living here work out of Tillman Creek, or they do both up?
Yeah. And there's not many there now. They all in the Tillman Creek. And the other part of Claiborne, which is a Fishneck Manor, was off limits. Everybody lived in Claiborne. Those people owned that, kept their own privacy. So everything developed up there and said, well, I really know nothing about this.
What, Burling's?
Where Mrs. Burling lived.
Yeah.
And before she was a Burling, she was a Cotton. Her son drowned. His son, playing out on the seawall, turning it all over.
Oh, not the pool?
No.
No.
Did her husband also drown when he was swimming? Did her husband also drown when he was swimming? Or one of her husbands? I'd heard that story. That he was out off the point swimming and got swept away.
I don't think so. Something tells me he was killed in the war.
Okay. Yeah. I heard from Stevie. I was up there one day before she died.
He was in the, I don't know if he died in the war or not. He was in the diplomatic services, I think, to some.
Yeah.
And Mrs. Burling had a story, she told us a story of how she, before the war, she was dancing with Goering.
You mean her first
It sounds like a bad movie title.
Like the producers, right?
And she actually said he was a pretty good dancer.
Yeah.
Dan, what was it like as a 12-year-old kid in a town like at that time? He must have been pretty isolated from the rest of the world here, self-contained.
No, we had our own world.
Yeah, 3 stores in Claiborne.
Yeah, 3 stores in Claiborne, school.
And people coming through all
church.
the time.
That's true, yeah.
Oh,
They
I
got to see
forgot
the
to
world
tell
first.
you, one time there was an Episcopal church in Claiborne.
Yeah, I was going to ask him, and I saw
Yeah.
that. Where was that?
Where did that fit?
About where Billy Warner lives.
Where's that?
In that, all those houses beyond the Harrison house are all new. Since
So it was up over there?
Huh?
That Episcopal church was up here?
Yeah, on the right-hand side going out of town was Episcopal. It wasn't, there wasn't a congregation when I was a kid. And mainly because of the Cocky, their clan, they were all Episcopalians. They had churches.
So how big was this congregation when you were a kid?
We had a Sunday school maybe of 12, 14 kids. And like it is now, was on what they call a charge, the minister. When I was a kid, the minister came from St. Michael's. Was hooked with the Sardis church in St. Michael's, which didn't all exist. 2 churches merged, 2 Methodist churches in St. Michael's merged. In Methodism, there was a Methodist Episcopal church, a Methodist Protestant church. And the Methodist Protestants didn't have bishops, the Methodist Episcopal did. Outside that, I don't think a lot of different. And what's old Claiborne out there now, a lot of those houses out there are also new since I've been. Where on the left-hand side, going up where, who's the people living there?
Applewood?
Right. When I was a kid, the black man lived there who was a slave during the Civil War. Everybody called him Uncle Ben, had no idea what he really meant.
Talk about a piece of history,
Huh?
Talk about a piece of history.
Yeah. Now, he obviously was a very a kid during the war. I mean, because he was still living, I think up until I was in high school. When he lived there, I'm not sure. So.
And you were born in 25, you said, right?
27, I was.
27, so yeah, so he was still, in the early 40s, he was still alive.
Yeah.
100 years old.
Yeah, 80 to 100 exactly,
Yeah.
depending on
Yeah.
pieces.
Well, that's a quick tour of Claiborne.
Thank you. I'm
Yeah.
just about out of batteries. I'm glad everything worked out.
The other thing, I do have some stories on the ferry if you want those.
Yeah.
Sure, please.
What about Mineral Spring Farms? Was that always there?
Yeah, but that wasn't part of Claiborne, so. I don't know who lived there.
Oh, okay.
It's the suburbs.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's out of
the
reverse.
suburbs.
Oh, some of the.
The other stuff I have is about the Claiborne Baptist Ferry Company. As I said, my dad was discharged from the Army in 1919 and came across, this is in June 1919, I think the ferry company was started somewhere in the early spring, before June anyway, March, April. And coming across, Dad really grew up in Nevitt too, he was going home to see his parents, his father and his stepmother, as such, having just been discharged. And going on, the captain, who was Captain Van, offered him a job as quartermaster. And he stayed there till they built the bridge. But Dad had a lot of, growing up, he grew up his father was a waterman. He grew up on the water and so forth. And he tells the story, and I've had it verified by some of his contemporaries. When he was a 16-year-old, he ran a mail service from Nevitt to Oxford by boat. Picked the mail up, went and got it. And he grew up, his father was a waterman, so he grew up knowing all about the water and so forth. So I used to kid my father because two summers I worked on the ferry. One summer for my father, which I would never do again. Because he was afraid of favoring me and there and so forth. This was in college. The other summer I worked for my uncle. Uncle of the ferry. And I used to tell Dad, you don't know what it is to be a deckhand. He started out as quartermaster. So, anyway.
What did a deckhand have to do on the ferry boat?
Basically, when you directed where the cars were, and when you directed which side of the ferry to go on and so forth. Then they had a lot just chores between them. You're always cleaning and polishing. The thing I hated to do was polish all the brass in the pile house. There were, I've got some pictures too, which I show you. The original owner of the ferries, was your former governor, Governor Harrington, that's what the first governor's name was. And he was instrumental in getting the ferry system started in 1919 and so forth, and served as president. Here is a picture of the two ferries down to Claiborne. On the right, on my left-hand side, when you hold it, is the car ferry. On the right-hand side is the passenger ferry from Baltimore.
Now, those were separate companies, right?
Huh?
Was that one company that did both?
No,
That was separate.
no, two separate companies. The ferry that ran the car was called the Claiborne Baptist Ferry Company. The other company was called, I remember reading that. The other company was owned by the railroad. Because you came down here, the passengers then took the railroad to Ocean City, and the stops all in between.
And that's when and that all stopped, you said, in 19, the railroad stopped in
29.
29.
Yeah.
What was the cost at that time to take your car on the ferry?
I have no idea. When it stopped, I think it was $250. I don't know what it
That was 53 or 52,
was.
right?
52.
Yeah.
The time from
I know,
Minneapolis to here to
passenger-
Carver is less than it is
For a
today.
passenger across the ferry was only 25 cents.
This building in the background here, I think it's a building that's down the Maritime.
That's right.
Museum.
Oh, down the post office.
Yeah,
No?
At the Maritime
it's at the
Museum.
Maritime Museum. I think you're looking across to the causeway there,
Right, yeah.
and that building, I think is.
Oh, you mean
Boat
the,
shed down at the
The old
Maritime.